Good morning, Hotel Goddess here. This is a video not really about hotels. This is about whether Atlanta or Nashville is right for you. And it's something that is worth considering. Now, to be fair, I'm one of those people that, yes, I live in the city in Atlanta. I live in a walking neighborhood where there are lots of great restaurants, very similar to the one that I'm staying in here in Nashville. And off the cuff, I have to say that the one in Nashville is a little nicer. And it's because they have less homeless people and less people who are, I don't know, blaring their own music while on a city scooter going through the area. So it's sort of a little less noise pollution, not a lot, just a little. It's kind of like everything that you wouldn't really like in Atlanta, there's less of it here. There's still some, but there's less. A good way to figure out a general overview of what kind of people you'll see in a city is, of course, to walk around in areas that are not touristy and just see what the locals are like, and eat in restaurants, of course, especially the same type of restaurants you would normally eat in. For me, that would be Thai or Asian. And a dog park is a great way to see a little slice of that neighborhood. It's kind of, if you have a dog, that's the easiest way before moving anywhere to check out the area, is to go to the dog parks and see which dog park looks like you would feel comfortable hanging out there, and that's your neighborhood. So I went to a dog park that is close to the neighborhood I'm in, and I'm going to go to another one today, but it was far superior to the ones in Atlanta, far. And then there's another little way, but if you're not single, I suppose you can't do this, but if you are single, going on a dating site, the swiping free dating site, is a great way to meet locals. And to be honest, I do it whenever I travel, even though I'm probably not really that interested in meeting anyone from a dating site, unless they're, amazing. But I'm more likely to be interested in meeting someone in person so I can see if I like them and not waste any time, because I've met enough people from dating sites in person and then they have a weird voice or a weird walk, or they're not as tall as they said they were, or whatever. And I'm sure that men have that exact same feeling, and it's just easier just to go out and see if you like people in person, see if there's chemistry from across the room. And if there isn't, really, why would you want to date them? But it's a great way of swiping through and seeing what is the average of an area. What sort of jobs are the average of the area employed with? What do they look like? What is their age group? I'll put a very large age bracket, like maybe like 35, to 60. So I'll see how many live here in this area. I'll also be able to look within a mile from where I am and see who lives in this neighborhood and what are they like. And what I'm noticing in Nashville is, normally on any sort of dating site, when I'm in Atlanta, I would be swiping, and I count just for fun. And my swipe right is there an outside chance that if I was stuck on an island with this person, I would find them attractive? And I mostly get to 100 before I get a yes to that question. And here in Nashville, there are a lot more guys who look like they could be my type if I met them in person. So it might be 1 in 20. That's pretty high. So everyone has their own type, obviously. I'm not into guys who are super sports fans and who want to just go to watch sports, talk about sports. I'm not into guys who are still really excited about where they went to college and like to talk about that all the time still, even though they're not in college anymore. So that's a lot of Atlanta. Sports fans and people who like to golf. And if you're a girl who loves sports and golfing, Atlanta might be really your city. If you're a girl who's looking to date a very successful Black guy, Atlanta, you can find him. If you're looking for a guy who's in IT and successful, Atlanta, you can find him. I'm seeing a lot more entrepreneurs in Nashville, which is my type of guy. And, I'm not saying that entrepreneurs aren't into sports, but entrepreneurs are really into the game of creating a business. So they tend to value their time, and everything they're doing is based on, is it elevating them or not? And so that's why, for me, I'd rather be with a guy who owns his own dog walking business than a guy who is high up in a corporation that can just fire him at any day and he has to ask for vacation time and all that stuff. That's not my type. But that's a lot of people's type. But here in Nashville, I'm seeing that there are a lot of higher level people and a lot more entrepreneurs. And I think it's because the city itself is more desirable to live in spite of their traffic. It has a river, it has beautiful old architecture, and it has Vanderbilt. Atlanta has a university too, but not on the level of Vanderbilt. So I like it here. And I'm going to spend more time and see if that continues. I've been here several times before, so it's not like it's my first time here, but I always liked it here. But I wanted to see, why is it suddenly so popular and people are moving to Nashville en masse as they are moving to Atlanta en masse? And I feel like for Atlanta, they're moving there because of a job they got. And Nashville, they're moving here because they were an entrepreneur in another state and they didn't like either the tax laws or the politics or both, and they moved here. So it's different. It's a city that people are moving to by choice more than people who are just moving because they got a job. And that is a different type of person. A person who's running their own life versus a person whose job is running their life. It's definitely two different perspectives. So that's my take so far on why Nashville is much more popular than it was even when I was here 4 years ago. It's much more popular now. I was here 4 years ago, I guess, for actually an amazing seminar. It was called The Truth About Cancer, and they're an organization that puts on these seminars, and the best doctors and freethinkers of the world are all there, and they're discussing all of these ways which they've found to, well, they cannot say the word cure. You can't legally say the word cure something, even if you know how to cure it. But that's what they're doing. They're helping people without traditional and dangerous ways. And when I went to this conference, I went to it in Nashville at the Grand Ole Opry, which is a hotel, but it has sort of a huge atrium with all of these restaurants. It feels like Disney World inside. Different wings of the rooms. It's sort of a destination for conventions. And so I didn't really hang out in Nashville that time. I was just there and seeing this great seminar, great speakers. David Avocado Wolf was there. He's someone I really admire. And Dr. Zelensko was there. He's since dead, but he came out with, during the flu season, he came out with a way to completely fix people. And it's still being used. He was one of the smartest people ever to have walked the earth. Dr. Zelensko with a Z. Anyway, Nashville versus Atlanta. I live in Atlanta and I love Atlanta. There are very cool restaurants. There are very cool areas. But Atlanta is definitely more gritty than I would like. And it's more, it's less original than I would like. And I have no intention of leaving Atlanta because of the friends that I have there. But if that weren't a consideration, would I rather live in Atlanta or Nashville? 100% Nashville, 100%. So, cost of living is probably about the same. The architecture of the new buildings looks similar, but I think they're doing it as nice or a little nicer in Nashville. I think there's nothing that you would miss about Atlanta if you lived in Nashville. Nothing. The problems that exist that you don't like in Atlanta, they're here too. They're just at a lower level. They haven't taken over. You know, because Atlanta has places where you just don't want to be. And the homeless problem is it's really serious, and it's spreading from the city and nothing's being done. So sometimes you have a person who's on drugs who might chase you, or chase you with their pants down, or take a poop in the bus stop, like right on the sidewalk. They just have their pants down and they're pooping on the street. That's what homeless people really looks like. I mean, I'm sure there's some peaceful, nice homeless people who everyone loves to feed and they're not bothering anyone. They're just putting their little pile of junk they collect in one area and whatever. But nothing's being done in Atlanta. Atlanta's poorly run city. And if you're trying to choose between Atlanta and Nashville, pick Nashville if you're like me. If you're not like me, pick Atlanta. Atlanta does have nicer hotels, but Nashville's catching up. They're building hotels like that. So everyone who lives here hates the traffic because it's not catching up with all of the new stuff. But I look forward to see which hotels are here. They don't have the big names right now. The nicest hotel that's well known is just an Omni. They have a Westin, you know, but a lot of new, unusual names are here too. And I'm staying in a Kimpton, which is, you know, it's a moderate hotel. It's nice, but it's not like, I say Ritz-Carlton. Not every Ritz-Carlton is wonderful anymore, but most are. It's not a St. Regis, it's not a Ritz-Carlton, which you can find those in Atlanta. But in Atlanta, you'll also find a bunch of people who are sort of hanging out at those hotels who can't afford to be there and are wearing, you know, the tacky designer stuff that's like flashy and gross that just makes you never want to ever put anything with a label on your body again. Just there's the tacky factor is there. And here I don't see that tacky factor. I see the country music scene is a big thing here. And I'm not into country music, not at all. But it's cool. It's cool. So I will let you know more about what happens when I see more of this city. If anything interesting happens, today's the day of the eclipse, and I came here not to see the eclipse, but I found out that you can pretty much see the eclipse from this location. So I guess I'm gonna have to go somewhere and get those glasses and look at it. Say my prayer when I do. So hope this helps for anyone who's looking at Atlanta versus care and travel soon.